Michigan's, honey. Thanks, Luke.
Okay, take care.
And a week after House Majority Leader Cantor canceled a speech at the University of Pennsylvania to avoid protesters when the school refused to close the event to the public, the Republican leader tried again, hoping to deliver that same speech at the University of Michigan. But 70 protesters tracked him down outside the venue, and about a dozen more made it inside. I'm joined now by MSNBC senior political analyst and Time Magazine editor-at-large, Mark Halperin. Mark, you can run, but you can't hide.
Well, Cantor's getting a taste from the left of what a lot of Democrats got during the rise of the Tea Party movement. As he goes to these events, he's a believer in free speech. He wants to make a play on college campuses. But at this point in our history, if you're a conservative Republican and you go to a college campus, you can be expected to get some people to come in and protest, sometimes civilly and in a non-disruptive way. In this case, I would say they were semi-disruptive, but he got to give his speech, and I think he's not afraid of some protests. He's not afraid of taking his ideas to the other side, but I think the symbolism's not great for him or for the party.
Well, but the bottom line is you can't expect to give a speech on a college campus and not have it open to the public. That's not what campuses do. That's not what they're all about.
No, I think canceling the event in Pennsylvania was unfortunate all around. There need to be some rules. There need to be civility. But the Republican Party right now looks at the Tea Party, at Occupy Wall Street, and at these protests particularly on income inequality, as a nuisance and as something they can get political advantage from in many cases. I think that's a mistake. I think the Republicans would be smart to listen to that message. It's a passionate message. It's a position held, according to public opinion polls, by many more people than are showing up at these events. And I think the Republican Party, both for the good of the country and for good politics, should be listening a little bit more closely to that message and not being so combative about it.
And this is what the Speaker of the House, John Boehner, had to say yesterday about the protests.
And frankly, under the First Amendment, people have the right to speak out and to protest. But that doesn't mean that they have permission to violate the law. I lived through the riots over the Vietnam War in the late 60s and early 70s, and you can see how some of those activities get out of control. A lot of us lived through the race riots of 1968 that clearly was out of control. And I'm hopeful that these demonstrations will continue to be peaceful.
So Republicans have to figure out how they want to approach these demonstrations. I mean, we don't know how the demonstrations will play out in the months to come. It's going to be a long slog and cold slog for them, especially after what we saw last weekend here in the Northeast. But this is sort of one of the big variables in this year's campaign, Mark.
It is. A lot of political professionals, Andrew, who I talk to on both sides, Democrats and Republicans, don't think that this will be a big force in the 2012 elections the way the Tea Party was in 2010. I'm not sure that that's right, though. Again, if you think of the Tea Party and the activists, it's a pretty narrow movement. But that notion of we need deficit reduction, that extends to Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid, as well as to a lot of other Democrats. This notion that the left is now putting forward, that the income inequality is immoral and that it's bad for the economy, is again something that I think has broad support, and I think Republicans would be smart to look at it. No one wants violence. No one wants disruption to the point where both sides can't talk. But Republicans, again, I'll say, I think are not embracing the reality of whatever your prescription is for fixing it, the income inequality is just wrong and it needs to be addressed. And it should be part of the campaign discussion, the legislative discussion now as we look at the super committee. But in 2012, for all races, people should be addressing that issue. The public is putting it forward.
Thank you so much, Mark Halperin. Thanks for being with us. And Mitt Romney's campaign is hitting Rick Perry over illegal immigration. The attack is aimed squarely at voters in Iowa, of course, where Romney is skipping a candidate